Good morning. It's 9:36, 24 minutes till 10 o'clock. It's the Love Your Lawn Hour, and Tommy Cowett joins us after an extended stay on the asphalt this morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Bill.
Glad you made it in, and sorry for the traffic problems. We've had them been reporting throughout the morning with Ernie.
Must be a bunch of carpetbaggers in town.
I don't know what it is.
Bagworms, man. I'm telling you, it's like an invasion.
You were telling me, that really from westbound, the split on I-40.
Oh, yeah. 5 miles an hour the whole way.
Guilford,
bumper to bumper.
Forsyth line all the way to 52, and then you get on 52, and it's still slowing you down. Anyway, thanks for the effort to be here. I appreciate that. And I first thing I want to ask you, is it possible to have too much new healthy grass growing in a lawn on September, 22nd?
Yes.
I may have too much new green. It's gorgeous.
You know, it looks that way, and you don't want the density to be too high. You know,
really?
But we try to put it out, but it's going to thin itself out if it's really too thick.
Oh, it's real. I was really pulling your leg there. It's absolutely gorgeous. 3 weeks ago yesterday, GrowinGreen came out to my house, and we did the aeration and the seeding, and I tell you what. You guys know what you're doing.
Hey, we do it right. We've got
really?
Our own proven method of doing the aeration and seeding.
And earlier this morning, I mentioned a line about a rifle behind every blade of grass, which was actually a World War II reference. One of the reasons they were reluctant to the Japanese to invade America was because we were an armed culture. And they said, with a rifle behind every blade of grass. And when I said that quote, your ears perked up because...
I draw an analogy to that. When we put down the microorganisms, this is microscopic rifles behind every... It's actually an army behind every blade of grass is what GrowinGreen is
The GrowinGreen Army.
That's right. It's a biological army behind every blade of grass, protecting that blade of grass, making that grass happy and healthy, and growing to its optimum potential.
Grass is doing the happy dance with yesterday and today's weather, isn't it?
Ooh, yeah. I had an inch of rain in my rain gauge this morning. And then I went up the street when I was leaving the house, and I see that it's dry. And then I get about a quarter mile up the road, and I see where they had a downpour, too. So this is like some spotty stuff, but I got lucky.
Well, but see, this is the kind of thing GrowinGreen understands so well, because you guys live here. You earned your education in North Carolina. I was talking earlier about you doing the grass comparisons, and for a lot of people, a college where you do grass comparison may not mean what it meant for you in agronomy.
Right.
But it meant literally growing different types of fescue and doing measurements, not a recreational kind of thing at all in that sense.
No, destructive sampling of turfgrass plugs is a chore. I mean, everything we did out of the Turfgrass Field Center in Raleigh, it was hard work. I mean, you're a student, but you're out there sweating all summer long. And pretty much for the whole year, if you worked part-time at the field center like John Rigsby did. I mean, he was an employee out there.
John also is with GrowinGreen. He is the
commander.
Turf commander. But it's those experiences, real-life exposure to how things happen. And again, that rain example you gave, it may be bizarre to other places in the country, but you know well enough. You've seen this before, and every lawn is going to have, next door neighbors may have a different water amount for the year.
Oh, yeah. Just from one place to the other. There's microclimates out there. It could even be in one yard. Could have different microclimates right there in just a 50-foot radius there.
All right. I want to turn your attention, if you will. By the way, if you have a question for Tommy Cowett, our lawn expert, 896-1980. You can call now. But for some reason, you've come in and you put a handful of chestnuts right here on the broadcast countertop. Is there a lesson of the chestnut you're going to teach us today?
There certainly is. I've got these chestnuts that were given to me last night by Ellen Ashley. Right now, the chestnuts, if you're familiar with the chestnut, most people aren't. But if you lived back 200 years ago, you certainly were. Because the chestnut was the cradle-to-grave tree in lumber in the United States. We made all of our caskets out of chestnut. We made all of our cradles.
And why was
dressers? Because it was abundant wood. It was a beautiful hard wood. And it was just so abundant. And then it got a disease. Chestnut blight hit them and wiped out millions and millions of chestnuts in the United States. They're gone. I mean, they're pretty much history. Well, Ellen's growing these Chinese cultivars of the chestnut tree. They don't get as big as an American chestnut. But, man, they produce a lot of fruit. I wanted to bring these nuts in and show you these. They are beautiful. They
really are.
Ellen and I, last evening, we walked the property. She has a 12-acre property, and we've mentioned Ellen on the show before. I teach a gardening class. I'll be teaching that gardening class for her in April. I believe it's on April 12th. And you can go to Garden Happy or her blog, Ellen Ashley. If you're interested in signing up for some really great gardening classes, they teach you everything from all types of gardening, from vegetable gardening to canning your vegetables. And then you go into, horticulture, propagation, you name it. On the 12-acre property, she has every type of garden you can imagine and more.
12 acres is a lot of potential for
variety. A lot of it's wooded, and then there is an 18-acre lake that GrowinGreen's helped to do some weed control, and we do her aeration seeding, and she loves the biological lawn care program that we do. And we help her with other various little problems that she might encounter. We're helping her grow moss in some areas where she can't get grass to grow. That's working. The buttermilk's kicking in, and the moss is growing in certain places. But just wanted to share the chestnuts with you. You can have these, take them and roast them for about 30 minutes in the oven, and you'll have some roasted chestnuts. I know it's not a lot, but it was the first pods that opened while we were walking under these chestnut trees last night, and they were falling down. You better grab them before the squirrels get them.
I definitely don't want to have any competition with the squirrels.
But they're absolutely delicious, and I'll get you some more as she gets an abundance of these things.
We will not turn those down. I'm sure young Alex put maple syrup on and what have you. It'd be a workable thing.
Put them on your ice cream. You do whatever you want with them.
You mentioned Ellen Ashley's name and the property that you were walking and the chestnut trees and all of that. You and she have and she does a lot of writing about gardening in the newspaper, the News and Record in particular. Now, do I understand that you and she are teaming up to do something with a class, a lecture series? Is that accurate?
That's what she does.
Okay, well, if you'll hang on.
I just assist on on organic lawn care.
Okay, I want you to talk a little bit about that and how folks may want to join you for that.
Right.
And we'll get to that and much more on AM 980 The Eagle. If you'd like to join us this morning, you have a question about your lawn, about your grass growing or not, 896-1980.
Call now. The number is 896-1980. AM 980 The Eagle.
Good morning. It is 9:46, 14 before 10, the Love Your Lawn Hour. And I know there are a lot of folks that are very, very passionate about their lawns, about the gardens, about the landscaping. And certainly those are the folks that are first in line to ask about the, GrowinGreen, what are you going to do for me? And I think it's a great nod that somebody is in love with her 12 acres, as Ellen Ashley is, actually uses GrowinGreen. Had Tommy Cowett out to the farm, out to the acreage yesterday. You got some chestnuts you brought in. And you and Ellen she does an ongoing teaching series. You're going to help out. Tell me what you're going to bring to the class along the way.
Right. I teach one of the courses. There's there's 2 a month, something like that. Mm-hmm. She teaches 2 classes a month. You sign up, and it's a year-long program. And I teach when it's early on in the year. Usually I've taught it for the last 3 years.
Really? That's great.
Usually it's in earlier on, like in February. This year it's going to be in April.
See, I've known you now on the show for quite some time, and this is a new territory that you're actually doing live seminars or presentations or teachings, which is a great idea. What do you focus on?
What I focus on is how you, the homeowner, can make your own microorganisms. I show you actually how to do it in a cardboard box. And you collect the microorganisms from good, healthy plant material and put them in a box and grow them on rice and then grow it out and then add sugar, which is molasses or brown sugar. And that's a long-chain polysaccharide. And then you introduce that into nature. And then what happens is the microorganisms you have just collected and grown out in a magnitude, like millions and millions of these same microorganisms that colonize the root system of plants, It's a natural occurrence, like I was saying about the army behind every blade of grass. Same thing, those guys. We grow them out, we make the army, and then you water your plant with it. And now what I do in the garage on top of the refrigerator in the wintertime to make my batch, because you only need about a batch per year.
And a batch is, what, 5
about
gallons?
a gallon. About a gallon, and then it's 1 teaspoon per gallon of water when you're watering.
And that's how potent it is.
Oh, yeah. It's very powerful stuff.
Okay.
Now, with
Catching
Growing
on
Green, we use a commercially available compost tea, which is a little bit more than this, because I'm making IMO and EM1, which is effective microorganisms, EM1, and IMO, which is indigenous microorganisms, which is what I water my plants with. And EM1 is a real all-purpose product. It's actually made of bacillus. It's a it's a bacterium that cleanses the environment, removes odors. People feed it to their pets. It improves. It's a probiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a delicious. It's not delicious. Kind of.
Well, if you're a plant,
it's curds and whey is what it is, but it is a bacteria product made from lactic acid. It's
years ago,
lactobacillus.
Years ago, there used to be a milk product, and being a Raleigh guy, you may remember the sweet acidophilus milk.
Sure.
Which was a Pine
Same
State.
stuff.
Pine State, right?
We're getting back to that, buddy. We're going back to the good old natural way to
Interestingly, too,
cleanse our bodies and cleanse the land.
Last segment you mentioned using buttermilk.
Oh, yeah.
To help grow moss. So there's a lot going on with these bacteria that you've mentioned in very standard household varieties.
We've talked about this. It comes from Elaine Ingram, one of the gurus of soil science and microbiology, and they dictate what happens in your lawn and in your soil. If you got healthy biology in the soil, well, then you don't have dirt anymore. You got soil. And soil does contain living microorganisms.
You
don't want dirt.
I don't want no dirt. I want the soil.
That's right.
That's big.
And, Growing Green, we turn your dirt into soil. It's basically what we're doing by adding microorganisms and the food stuff that they enjoy.
And careful, when you add, and I think this is an important point to see, we talk about it, but when you actually see it in your own lawn, it is a whole another revelation. When we talk about the seed, the purity of the seed that Growing Green uses.
Oh, yeah.
And how it is literally weed-free. There
Zero.
And think about being able to say that. And I was telling somebody the other day about the different, and they had no idea that there is seed available that is weed-free, and they hadn't done the calculation like you and Jonathan have shown us. That even a 0.0 whatever percentage it is.
Millions of seeds of weeds.
And you're putting them in your lawn, and you're inviting them to come and stay overnight and go ahead and have a party.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can avoid that step, how far ahead are you going to be?
You're going to be far ahead, because some of these weeds can be nasty weeds that come in bags of grass seed. I was at the big box just the other day walking through and read the seed tag, and I was 0.25% other crop, and I knew what that is.
That means what you don't want.
That's crap. That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't want. And you're putting it directly in competition with what you do want.
Yep.
And you can't be doing it. The question that's I think a lot of folks are wondering too is, listen, here it is. We've passed that halfway point in September. I haven't done what I need to do to, replenish the lawn, to give it that soil mixture that you want to, see in every lawn, Tommy. Our time is rapidly running out. Where are we on the window to get it done?
I'd probably say we're about a third of the way through. We're not halfway point yet. I mean, the window is going to close here. Probably you can do things to manipulate the environment, because here's, if you were to say, I want to get all my seeding done and my grass up by the time the leaves start to fall. Well, you're kind of like running out of time on that. So just remember, you got some management to do. If you're going to be seeding now, you need to be considering your leaves and a way to get them off of the new baby grass, because you'll want light to get in there and get them healthy and get them up and going. A good strategy to keep the leaves off the lawn during the grow-in stage.
And if you live in a tree-populated lot like I do,
Ooh, yeah.
and I've got some.
Well, you're up.
I'm up. I'm
you're
there,
gold.
and but even so, I have some trees. I guess they're birch trees, maybe, but the early leaf dropping trees.
Oh God, yeah.
Early
I wanted
on.
to talk to you about the Yoshino cherry. I'm getting all kinds of
yeah,
calls.
we got to talk about the Yoshino cherry.
And we
trees.
talked about the chestnut
Yes,
trees
yeah.
blight. You know, in GrowinGreen we do some tree injections and we do other tree care, provide tree care services. You know, we've been battling Dutch elm disease for a long, long time, which is another. Took out all the elms on all the elm streets in America, you know.
And
They
Greensboro
They've
is
got
famous.
Zelkovas now. They lost. Tree diseases have decimated all these trees. Well, the Yoshino cherry's been overplanted, but don't worry about that leaf drop. I mean, I'm driving around town every Yoshino cherry. This is a type of cherry. There's two types of ornamental cherries that we typically have. It's the Quonset cherry, those beautiful pink ones.
Now, those are the ones we see commonly up around D.C.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the ones that you're talking about.
Oh, and D.C. has a lot of all kinds of cherry trees, but yes, that is one of the types they have there. These are ornamental cherry trees. The Quonset's a smaller one, really beautiful. The Yoshino's a larger cherry tree, and they're defoliated already. They're gone. So I've been getting a lot of calls, people having me come out and go, hey, what's wrong with my cherry trees? It's completely defoliated. I mean, completely bare of any leaves. Don't worry about it. That is a trait of that plant to jettison its leaves early. They typically do that.
I didn't realize. So that's healthy when you see that. It's
They're
actually
fine.
It's doing its thing.
I use a pocket knife to see if there's, good sapwood there, and it's usually fine, and it's just they drop early.
Did we forget that, or is it an earlier season this year maybe than it was last year? Is anything going on?
It could
with
be a little bit of this drought help jettison, trigger this whole thing where they just drop them. And anywhere you see, they're the bigger cherry. And a lot of people are considering cutting them down now. I mean, I've seen a lot of customers say, I'm getting sick of this because, every year it drops them early. And, I've gone and said, no, this is not a disease. This plant just likes to drop its leaves early.
You wanted the cherry tree, you chose the Yoshino, and this is how it lives.
This is what it does.
This is its thing.
Yup. So, it's good to have somebody like me to come out, and the lady was so happy to know that she's not planning on cutting them down. She just wanted to make sure that they didn't have a disease and weren't dying.
It's always nice when the doctor looks at the baby and says it's a healthy baby. And that's what you can do if it's a healthy baby. And if it's not, then you have treatments that are available potentially for these problems
That's
that we
right.
run into.
Yes.
Tommy, we're about out of time, but I want to encourage folks to go to GrowinGreen.com, your website. The Ask the Expert button is there for you. 1-866-LAWN-HELP. Getting it done, making your house look and your lawn look everything it needs to be. The folks at GrowinGreen, you got to love them because they do it right.